Okay, so the next question Jim emailed in, and I'm just gonna read it. So, should I add a topping lift to my boat? How do I rig it up? I recently got a new boat and my boom drops down when I lower the sail. If I install a topping lift, will that work? Okay, Jim, it's somewhat dependent on what the boat is set up as and what size the boom is or how big the boat is. There is two usual ways of setting a topping lift. If it's a small boat and the backstay is fairly close to the end of the boom, often, if that's the backstay, they'll just have a short line that runs down on an angle just to hold up the end of the boom. And so smaller boats, often you see them actually, the topping lift goes to the backstay. So that is an option if it's not a massive boat. Bigger boats often have a block or a shiv built into the top of the mast, and your topping lift will go from the end of the boom. It'll go straight up to the top of the mast, through the block, and down to either the base of the mast or it'll run back into the cockpit, so you can adjust it while you're in the cockpit and staying safe. So those are your two options depending on how your boat is actually set up, okay? The first one, the one that runs to the top of the mast and down, is obviously, in my opinion, the better option. I don't know, you can make adjustments. The main thing to not forget, Jim, is when you do set this up, you need to make sure that the topping lift is released. Obviously the one at the back to the backstay is more obvious, but when you actually start sailing, you don't want to leave the tension on the topping lift that goes to the top of the mast, because as soon as you're pulling down on the boom, you're pulling and fighting the topping lift, and you're basically defeating your adjustments. So you have to remember to let that topping lift loose, or if the boom can't pull down, maybe your twist opens up and you're dumping more pressure out of the sail and it's not helping. So just don't forget to loosen the topping lift when you set it up that way. Other than that, Jim, that's all I got for now. You can always send us some pictures and I can tell you what to do. Or give some advice anyways. Let's leave it at that, Jim. Have a wonderful day, and thanks for emailing the question to Ask Precision Sails.